Hmm. All right. Day 19. James explains. Today's question. How many more miles do I have on these shoes? All right, so exercise-based question, but a little bit cool because I like to work out, so this is a relevant question to me. So, how many more miles do you have in these shoes? Let's break out the pen. And this is not the pen, this is the marker. So, how many more miles do I have on these shoes? Question mark. So we're going to use running as an example here. And we're basically going to say that we're going to base this based off of running shoes. So how many means a total amount of miles. This could be meters/kilometers. Unit doesn't really matter. What we're talking about is it's quantity. Now, more miles is very important here, because more miles means we have a current total, and then it's asking how many until x, where x itself is break, replace, need new. So the idea is that we're asking how many, the quantity of miles that are currently on them, how many more can we use until whatever happens. So when they say how many more miles do I have on these shoes, we're talking about this how many until x. A better way to write this question would be or a better question to ask ourselves is, what happens when I reach this limit or number? And the usual thing is, they'll break, replace, you'll need new ones. I'll tab down a little bit and then we can talk about the problems. So a question to ask is, why am I thinking about how many more miles? Why am I asking this question? Why is that important? Well, you can answer that right away. Shoes break. They wear down. They rip and tear. Fabric gets ruined. Foam / cushioning loses its bounce, per se. All of these things are reasons why you'd be thinking about how many more miles you have left on these shoes. So that's an easy way to look at this question. But the next question you need to ask, now that we have the why, is not the question over again, how many more miles do I have these shoes, but how do I know how many miles are on these shoes? Or how do I know how many more miles? So not just how many more miles, but how do I detect miles? It's the asset part of the question. How do I register miles on shoes? Count total I'm just reading an email real quick. Give me a second. Okay. Sorry about that. So, anyways, how do I register miles on shoes? Well, you can do this a variety of ways. You can see wear and tear on shoe. Specifically, the bottom tread wear, color change, material disappearing. You can also look at the top. And you can see stitches rip. You can see the soles fall apart. You can see the tongue get ruts. You can see frayed laces. And all of these are ways to be able to track miles on shoes. But there's got to be a what we're really looking for, we are looking for a standard in wear / tear to help predict mileage on shoes plus predict lifetime of shoes. So this is obviously the question that every shoe company asks, is how do I know how many miles I can put on the shoes and how do I know they're going to last? And the ways this works is the current practices are you have chemistry of material, you have data on runner's feet, you have video, and then you have finally shoe returns. All of these are current practices, and without getting too scientific and thinking too hard about this, I want to figure out a way to I don't want to solve this problem of how many more miles do I have in these shoes. I want to, once again, this is a design experiment, this is an exercise. I want to practice going through a little process of choosing one of these wear and tears on the shoes, you can see, and then expanding on what this would look like in real life if we were to try and answer this question through technology's help. So, what I want to do is I have this idea is I want to combine these two ideas of tread wear and material disappearing. And I'll write this on the next page. So you have registering wear and tear on shoe. And like we talked about, we have tread wear and disappearing material. Okay, so this allows, these are two standards that are very well documented, really well practiced when it comes to measuring lifetimes of shoes. So I want to talk about what these mean. Tread wear. So tread wear is basically the bottom of a shoe, and they have treads on them. Okay, and these are treads, and over time, this treads, they start to disappear a little bit sometimes. You'll see you'll see some patches build up. Then some will start missing. Missing treads. And then you have worn patches. And each one of these represents deterioration. So, what this is basically one way of measuring on the bottom of a shoe. This is bottom side of shoe. This is a way of tracking how much they wear. And this is usually pretty standard among most shoes because most shoes have a standard type of rubber on the bottom. They have their own foam, but they all tend to wear out over the same amount of time. Disappearing material as well is what we're talking about here. I'll just write disappearing. And this is basically, tread wear, etc. You can see stuff start to age. And that aging is obviously a time thing. And from the time, you can start to make calculations based off of how long things are going to last. So, that's what that is. So what I want to do is I want to use the camera phone to identify areas of wear and tear on shoes and quantify either miles on shoe or how long they have left. You might be asking, why is it an or? Reasons to not do both basically is you have all shoes are different. All shoes are different. Not all foam wears the same. So it's better to choose one idea. It's better to attack one than aim for both. Okay, so let's see. How are we going to do this? We'll just go with the classic things you'll need list. What you'll need is camera on phone. You'll need a light source. You'll need a worn bottom of shoe / fresh shoe. And then, you know, maybe some sort of internet connection. Besides that, this is going to be really simple. So I'm not going to make this entire process. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a flow of the app or the process, and then I'm going to choose one piece to draw out. So what I'll do here is I'll write it out. So you have, you know, running shoes are starting to feel flat. Okay. And you know, you probably ask yourself, why? And then after asking yourself, oh, is it me? You say, maybe it is my shoes. And then after that, you ask, how many more miles do I have on these shoes? Okay, so now you've asked yourself the question. So what do? Well, use your ShoeWare app. So you're going to boot up your ShoeWare app. I'm just making these names up as I go. And after you open your ShoeWare app, you can choose to, you want to take a picture of the shoes or scan the shoes. What do you want to do? You want to, is that the only thing you want to do with it? Yeah, why isn't it that simple? Of course. So it opens to camera view. Okay, easy enough. That's the app, so it's going to be in diagonals. And after it opens the camera view, you're going to, what do you do? You take your shoe, flip it over, can't spell, flip it over, and then you hold it under the camera, and then the camera app starts identifying shoe flaws. So the app starts identifying the shoe flaws. And after it starts identifying those shoe flaws, using augmented reality, points to areas of wear and tear, points to the areas of wear and tear, and then it explains how these happen. And after it explains how these happen, it starts to, below that somewhere, this is not the same as, it doesn't happen after it explains, because you want that to be secondary. You want to be able to see your total all the time. Displays estimated total on shoes. Displays the estimated total miles on shoes. And or displays remaining miles on shoes. Okay, so each one of these explains how that happened. This is happening all the time. It's just a overlay points. These two are probably interchangeable. Maybe you can have a guess miles button, or you can have a guess remaining. But for the question that we're asking about how many do I have? How many more do I have? So let's see, what are we going to draw? I'm definitely going to draw this. I like this overlay idea. That's kind of part of the holding it under the camera. And then I guess I'll draw. These probably might all be part of the same screen. So let's just draw these three. The reason I went with the and or rather than the and for these is that, like I was saying, not all shoes are made the same, but it kind of makes sense that if you're going to be able to guess the remaining, you might be able to guess how many you have. So let's, once again, it's a sprint. Let's guess. Let's assume a lot. So to start, we'll show the shoe being held under. What a horrible shoe. And we'll have a split down below. We'll do a cross pattern. You know, let's just make this a unworn shoe. This is unworn shoe. Unworn shoe, got it. And then you are scanning the shoe. And you have no flaws detected. And you have total, say something like speed divider of sorts. Maybe we don't need this. Paper's free. Well, it's cheap. Draw it. It's made total, maybe 10 miles. And remaining. I don't know. Let's go with 900 miles. This has me thinking, what if we could identify could identify shoe by inner, they always have it on the inner, barcode before scan for more accurate predictions. I like this idea. I really like this idea. So we'll have, on the inside of the shoe, you have the tongue. You have the outside of the shoe here. Down below, you have your treads, whatever. Usually, along here, you have size 9, and you have a barcode. Scan barcode of shoe. So we need to add this to our user flow because that makes a lot of sense. Take shoe, flip it over. Before we flip it over and do that, we want to, so open the camera view. We want to have, let's add it here. Scan shoe barcode. We'll cross this out. So we interjected, boom, comes straight across, scan shoe barcode, take the shoe, flip it over, hold it in the camera, continue with user flow. Okay. Yes, good interjection. So once we scan the shoe on the bottom, we'll scan the barcode. We have, let's see, we have New Balance V4, whatever shoe that is. And on the bottom, this pickle looking thing, we have a wear mark. And then some of these are a little tattered and broken up. So we have overlay. You have this UI, this little UI pin that'll say, jagged rubber, which would basically mean rubber is breaking. Not too big, but the rubber is breaking. Then you have this UI element here, and it'll say wear mark. This is foam is disappearing. Okay, and then down below, since I've drawn over it, I'll just draw it here. We have estimated total. That's taking up way too much room, so we should turn it into est total, and we'll say 50 miles, and then we'll say remaining, pred remaining, predicted, and we will make that, let's say 850 mile. So we have the name, shoe name from barcode. We have the shoe picture. Then we have UI elements starting to appear, explaining what's happening. Then we have the total down below. So let's do one with a little bit more wear on it. Let's see. What a weird shoe. Okay. Jagged, 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 square, square. And then, you know, the wear mark this time is getting a little bigger. Okay, so now the UI elements can change a little bit. So we can have a dotted line around these wear marks. And it changes from a wear mark to a wear area. Okay, and an area is usually a little bit bigger than a mark. And then here we have what appears to be rubber deterioration, which again is more extreme. It's a group breakdown or an area. And then down below, of course, you have your S total. Would love to do logos for these, but I just don't think there'd be enough room. This is an estimated total miles you've used. Let's say it's, 350 miles. And then pred remain. I think remain is probably better than remaining. We could say what's 900 minus 350? That's 550 miles. Okay? And then finally, let's do a really worn down shoe. I know there's some of you out there that wear shoes down a lot. So let's go with this. Let's say yeah, that looks great. Rubber groupings have all rounded off. This is pretty much worn flat. It's even starting to split a little bit. Okay, sorry for the squeaky chair. You have what's now displayed as a wear area plus, also, we don't need to do plus. We could have it come up above. And can it say something along the lines of, oh, I don't know, rubber splitting or foam splitting. Foam splitting. And then after that, you have rounded nubs rubber. So the rubber is now rounding plus smoothing off. And then obviously your estimated total. And your pred total. You get 800 miles. And from here it'll say 0 to 100 miles remaining. Yeah. Maybe a divider too, a T divider, maybe something like that. This is a T divider to help distinguish numbers from UI elements. So yeah, cool way to combine augmented reality and physical space of running and foam and running shoes to really answer the question, how many more miles do I have in these shoes? So yeah, day 19, James Explains. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.